Well, thank you, Sharon, for that reading for us this morning. Well, good morning, everyone, and it's a real thrill for me to be speaking to you this morning, but it'd be lovely to be all together in the CMC. You know, I did wonder if today would actually arrive. 13 weeks ago was the last time I spoke at breakfast at 9. The following day, I was admitted to Poole Hospital, having damaged my back and having difficulty walking. I was faced with the prospect of spinal surgery, but thank the Lord that that was not deemed necessary. I know that many of you have been praying for me and the family, and as this is the first time I'm speaking to you in 13 weeks, I just wanted to say thank you. The Lord has been amazing, meeting me and ministering to me in many, many different ways. I'm still having to use walking aids to get around, particularly if I go outside, and this has been a real struggle for me, as I had been very active with the grandchildren. I still have times when I feel really down, but I'm trusting God completely. So, you know, I can empathise with the disciples who've been on a roller coaster journey of emotions, like me, from the depths of despair when Jesus was arrested and then crucified, to the heights of delight on meeting the risen Lord. In last week's story, we heard how Jesus appeared to Thomas to ease his doubts. But what now? What will happen next? In this time of uncertainty, Peter decided to go back to what he knew, fishing, and a few of his friends went with him. They went fishing at night, not because they were scared as they had been in the locked room, but because fishing at night was the best way to fish, and they were all experienced fishermen. Just like the disciples, we are in a time of uncertainty with COVID-19, and once the lockdown is over, the temptation will be to go back to the things we were doing before. But we have all been changed by our experiences during this time, and that change will dictate what we do in the future. People have already started saying, "Oh, I hope we don't go back to how it was before." Anyway, back to our story. They fished all night and didn't catch anything, and we're reminded of that first meeting between Peter and Jesus, when Jesus called Peter to follow him and be a fisher of men. Since then, their experiences with Jesus meant that they are changed fishermen. As they fish, they notice someone watching them from the shore. The stranger calls out, "Have you caught any fish?" "No," they reply. "Then cast your net on the right side." They then have a massive catch. When Peter recognized this was Jesus, he leapt into the water and waded to the shore. He couldn't get to Jesus quick enough. As the other disciples brought the boat into shore, Jesus invited them to join him for breakfast. Breakfast, the start of a new day. The disciples still didn't know what would happen next, but they were content to share a meal with Jesus and just rest in his presence. Jesus shared bread and fish with them, just as he had in the feeding of the 5,000. So think about your life before the lockdown. Were you busy, rushing around, never seeming to find the time for the simple things? We plan, we implement, and we work hard, and then we get frustrated when nothing comes of it. I know I was like that. Now think of your life since the lockdown. Are you finding that you have time to smell the coffee? Have you noticed the amount of sunshine we've had in the past 6 weeks? Maybe God wants us to stop and spend time with him because we no longer recognize who he is. And sometimes, really, all he's asking is that we come, join him, and take part in what he's prepared and created, and the rest will come. As I wrote this, the government are discussing easing the lockdown. The information and guidelines seem to change hourly. So, Declutter your minds of plans, schedules and to-do lists. Instead, look out upon the sunshine and the flowers in your garden. Absorb the sights, smells and sounds and enjoy the moment for what it is, not what it means, not what lies ahead, and not how you arrived here. There will be another time for all of that. For now, just be present with Him and be content, asking God each day what He wants us to learn as individuals, as a church, and as a nation. It's tempting to think we're on our own, but we mustn't forget that God is in control. As it says in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This was just one of the verses which have upheld me in the past 13 weeks and give me hope for the future.